Shalom Yashala. I'm gonna start by saying all praise, all glory, all honor, all blessing, all power, all wisdom belong to our power, Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Yakwakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach us well and rule well. Salutation to the Akim, that's in highways and byways, throughout the four corners of the earth. Much respect unto the elect sons and daughters of Yashala that step in the way of righteousness in the name of Yahawah, Yahweh Shamashiach. Shalom, shalom. To this lesson, Babylon is in trouble, right? And they know it, because the Lord is the Lord's purpose for Babylon to feel that way, right? And that the hand of his enemy is on his neck, right? And then his enemies also knows it, that Babylon is in trouble, and Babylon is trying to do everything in its power, right, to get rid of that trouble, and they can't, because that is the Lord that purpose those things, right? As you can see, Babylon is in trouble, right? But mostly it's between this lesson is between a Moab and Babylon, right? For a very long time, Moab was in bed with Babylon. Now that China is not being a world power over and over, right? That means like they're very advanced economically and military. Not China, not Moab was China, Moab was China, right? Have become a threat to Babylon, and the Babylon knows they're in trouble, because all the hidden nations is on Babylon, because it was Babylon that prevent all those nations to be at their peak, right? As you can see, but the Mosai is turning the table, right? The table that was upside down, the Mosai turning that table up. It's like that was upside down, right? Now it's not gonna be down to upside, right? Now you can see the table for what it is. The Mosai have reversed that table. Now, as you can see, now Yasha Allah is about to come to power, and and Esau is losing power, and he's feeling it. And one of the main place they're feeling it right now is in Babylon, right, which is America. I got a couple articles. I got article and a video too. China is hiding itself for economic war. Right, see? Now, it's not just war, bullet fly, missile fly, right? There's economic war, there's spiritual war, and there's physical war, right? That fought with weapons, right? Now all those kind of war, right? Namely, right, are all in play right now, and most of them is directed toward Babylon. All those wars, economic war, right, physical war, all of them are aiming at Babylon. You see that Babylon is doing those kind of wars, or the other nation is doing it against Babylon, and the beast system they obeying, right? Beijing is trying to close economic vulnerabilities out of fear of U.S. containment. Chinese policymakers are increasingly convinced that the United States is determined to implement a full-fledged strategy of containment against China. Without doubt, Babylon is doing that against China, because China is getting too big for Babylon's own taste, right? But if China is getting too big for itself, who drive it that way? Babylon, right? Beijing viewed the Indo-Pacific economic framework for prosperity as the economic mirror of the quadrilateral security dialogue and AUKUS, two US-led security pacts that Beijing regarded as anti-China coalition. Chinese official academics and media rhetoric increasingly talk of self-reliance and are preparing for a forced decoupling from the United States. Feng, Feng Zhengai, a vice chairman of China Securities Regulatory Commissions, proposed accelerating the yuan international to prepare for the risks of forced financial decoupling. A Shanghai-based academy argued that the peace dividend is over, hence it is time that China prepare for a full decoupling. Even the more moderate voice have acknowledged the profound change in U.S.-China relations behind the decoupling theory and called for China to prepare for the worst but try for the best. See, what China is seeing right now that Babylon, aka America, is trying to bring the economy down. That in all the European nation also is trying to succumb China to economic downfall, and China seeing all those things, about to come to pass. Right, it's preparing himself to disconnect it from this world economy. Them in Russia, right? As you can see, China it used to be Babylon lover, right? Now China is distancing himself from Babylon because Babylon is falling. But Babylon's in trouble, right? That's what China is seeing right now. And Babylon is trying to do everything in his own, right? A Second Ezra 15, verse 46, and to Asia that are partaker of the hope of Babylon and at the glory of a person, right? A Moab, Asia, the Asian countries, it's really Moab, China, right? They want to be like America, and that's exactly what China is doing right now. They want to be like the superpowers. They want to control the economic power. They want to control over the earth, right? They are partakers of the hope of Babylon. You see, what's the hope of Babylon? To have control of the whole earth. Babylon have control over the whole earth, and China want a piece of that hope, right? And at the glory of the person. See, and China is the glory of Babylon. Is the glory of Babylon. Everything Babylon want, China produces for Babylon, right? Woe be unto thee. You see, destruction is coming for Asia, right? The wedge, because thou have made thyself like unto her. See, China is making himself like unto Babylon, right? Because in their mind, they want world power. They want to control the resources and everything, right? And has take their daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. That's exactly what Asia have done. Moab, the Chinese, the Japanese, right? They want to be just like America and then even see themselves as such. They're just the same way now, right? They forget almost about their culture, right? The, as you can see, the other like Moab of ancient wasn't as brutal as Esau, which is the king of Babylon, right? Now they're in the same spirit. Cool, right? Do I follow her that is hated of all her works and invention? Therefore, said Yahawashi, right? You see, you follow Babylon, and everything Babylon is doing, you're a carbon copy of Babylon right now. You do it, everything Babylon was doing and still doing. You're doing those things too. You want to be a carbon copy of Babylon. And guess what the Lord said? I will send plague upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste the house with destruction and death. See, that's what's coming for you, China and Asia. You wanna be like Babylon? All those plagues are coming for you, right? That's exactly the time we're in right now. And now, are those plague, those famine gonna come? Wars. As you can see, that's rumors and that's wars and rumors of wars, right? All kind of wars, economical war and warfare wars, right? Like weapons wars, right? Physical wars, man versus another man fighting, right? That's exactly the time we're in right now, and that's exactly what's the Lord's purpose is. The Lord's purpose is to have the nation fight against one another, right? Like it's in Amos 9:2, right? Give me, give me a second. Yes, as Joel chapter 3, verse 9, proclaim he this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of wars draw near, let them come up, beat your plaster into sword, and your pruning hook unto spears, let the weak say I'm strong. China used to be weak, now they're saying they're strong, and they're ready to go head to head with Babylon, okay? The lady of kingdom, the most powerful nation on earth, China is ready to fight against America, right? In every front, economically and weapon, right? China is ready to fight those wars, right? Assemble yourself and come up, all you hidden, and gather yourself together round about thither, because the mighty ones to come down, O power. You see, prepare wars, China and Russia, America prepare wars, right? Because China, uh, Russia, they know Babylon is in trouble. Babylon is falling. Babylon doesn't have the same power that she used to, right? And that's the time that we're in right now, right? Let's play that video real quick. Okay. This video is for Fox News, right? Is US prepared to tackle the growing threat of China?
It was led by members of Congress. It's because what I want. Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin, and this is Life, Liberty, and Levin. Do me a favor. On this Sunday evening, take a seat if you're not sitting down. Focus on what we're going to talk about. Call your family around, if you will, because what I want to discuss with you is crucially important. The America First Committee in 1940 and 41, prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, was almost 1 million members in size.
Yes, anyway, the attack in Pearl Harbor was all designed for it to happen that way, right? Because America wanted to get into the war, and they have a way, they want to find a way to get into the war, and they forced the hand of Japan, right, to get into that war by starving them up, by starving down, by cutting their fuel, and have all kind of threat against the Japanese, right? Asia, Chinese and Japanese, right? They got all kind of threats against those nations.
It was led by industrialists. It was led by members of Congress. Its putative spokesman was Charles Lindbergh. It was made up of all kinds of people, patriotic Americans, communists, anti-Semites, and they all had one thing in mind: keep America out of that European war. Because you see, they had pretty much just fought World War I, and the country was going through a horrific economic cycle, depression. They didn't want to fight anymore.
See,
And the
the same thing that was back then. It's the same thing that's happening now. Now we're entering a recession. Next thing you know, it's gonna be depression. Inflation is at an all-time high. And now, when you see all those things coming to pass, big time war is coming. Especially when you see those great nations falling. They have economical downturn. Right? Just know wars is around the corner.
argument was basically, and they didn't all agree on the strategy, let's build up our military to protect the continental United States. Bombers, other types of air warcraft, ships and subs. But let's stay out of the continent of Europe. We already went there. We already lost enough lives. Franklin Roosevelt was frustrated. Of course, there was the Lend-Lease program in which he got around the Neutrality Act in order to give some support to England, which was under attack by the Nazis. But think about it. The Nazis had moved through much of Eastern Europe. They were attacking England, and we had many, many people who opposed us getting involved because they didn't think we were ready, and they were tired of these endless wars in Europe. Sound familiar? So what happened? Well, we were attacked on December 7th, 1941, and the America First Committee disbanded a week later. And Charles Lindbergh, who'd been an aggressive isolationist for various reasons, became a very controversial figure. He decided to join the war effort and spoke out against any further isolationism. He wanted to join the war effort. FDR said, no, you've caused enough trouble, but he joined it anyway. Now, I'm talking about this because you hear many of the same people who claim to be American firsters who don't even understand what that means. Is an American firster somebody who puts the United States people in a position where they're going to wind up in a world war in a very poor strategic position geographically, with a military that's not properly built up, with young people who are not properly trained up, where we're caught flat-footed? Is that American first? Because I'm hearing a lot of people who suggest to me that that's how they view American first. And they bring up many of the same issues. We have our own economic problems.
See, what this one is saying to you, Babylon, aka America, is weak. Like the other nation is saying, they see the weakness of Babylon. Babylon is being weakened by the Most High. Slowly but surely, the Lord is taking this place down. Right? The Lord is doing it. Let's get the scripture real quick. Let's go to Isaiah 51. Let's get Jeremiah first. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 12. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the wall strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambush. For Yahawaah have both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. See? All those things, Yahawaah, powered by Hashem Yahawashi, have spoken, have done it against against Babylon, and all those things are coming to pass. Right? Babylon is falling. Babylon is being weak. Right? Let's go to Isaiah 14, right? Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4. That thou shalt take up the proverb against the king of Babylon, and said, have the oppressor ceased, how the golden city ceased, the Lord have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. You see? Yahweh, powered by Hashem Yahawashi, have done those things to Babylon. He have taken the rulership away from Babylon, slowly but surely. Yeah, Babylon still have low power, but Babylon has been weak, weakened until the nation see it. Right? Let's bring one more scriptures too. Right? Let's go to Jeremiah 50. Isaiah chapter 50, Jeremiah chapter 50, uh, verse 43. The king of Babylon have heard the report of them, and his hand waxed feeble, anguish took hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. Verse 45. Therefore, ye hear the counsel of Yahawah power, bahasham Yahawashi, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purpose that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall dwell them out. Surely it shall make the inhabitants desolate with them. You see, now we're entering those time right now that the least of the flock, which is the Jewish state, the Israeli state, right? All those commotion that's going on right now is because of those bankers, right? The so-called Jewish, the so-called Jews, who they call themselves Jews, but they call themselves Jewish, right? It's because those people, those bankers, that want to have control over the earth, and Babylon being the midst of that, right? Because it became a piggy bank for those elite bankers, right? Okay, because they want to fight the war. Babylon go up there and fight the war for them, right? And now those things coming back upon Babylon on head, right?
That's what they said before we were attacked by the Japanese. What about our borders? What about this? What about that? What about this? We're a great nation. We better be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We do have domestic enemies and hugely critical domestic problems that I talk about almost every week here. But you cannot take your eye off foreign enemies either. We must not. The federal government is the only level of government that can protect us.
See, yeah, like this man said, Babylon have inside enemies and outside enemies, domestic enemies and foreign enemies, right? That in any way, Babylon is airing right now, right? And that's beautiful, and all this, and all the way, and all the world's doing. Uh, Isaiah chapter 19, verse 14. Yahawah have mingled a perfect spirit in the midst of the earth, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his own vomit. See, Babylon is erring. Babylon is focusing on one part, while the other part is cooking up for him. Right? Every time, every time you take a look at this thing, he look he lost he lost sight of the other danger. When you look at that danger, he looks sight he lose sight of that the other danger that's been cooking about him, right? That's why you see in second Edges, right? A fire is kindled, who shall put it out, right? The Lord have a kindle fire already for Babylon, right? Uh, second Edges says 16, verse 3, a sword is sent upon you, who may turn it back. Hey, let's that one. Second Edges says 16, verse 1, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. See, woe be unto America and Asia. See, those two nations are like twins. They're joined together right now. You see? Who to be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Get up yourself with cloth of sack and hair, bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. You see? Destruction is coming for those places, right? For Asia and Babylon, aka China, Asia, China, Japanese. Destruction is coming for those places, right? Verse 4, a fire is sent among you, who may quench it. Plague I sent unto you. What is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away an angry lion into wood, or may any quench the fire and stubble when he have begun to burn. Okay? This fire is this spiritual fire, right? It's already burning right now, and there's no way they can quench that fire. Because the word of the Lord is sent. He has to do what he was made to do, right? Because the Lord is not gonna be found a liar out here. Let's get on. A fire shall go forth from his wife, and who is it that may quench it? See, when the Lord do something, send a fire, no one gonna quench it. He shall cast lightning, and who shall not fear. He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid. The Lord gonna do what he please. Who not gonna be afraid, right? The Lord gonna make a big noise with his prophecy. Who's not gonna be afraid? Everybody gonna be afraid when they see the prophecy come to pass, right? Verse 11. The Lord shall threaten, who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence. That's exactly what he's doing. The Lord is threatening a Babylon and Asia, aka China. And now they are getting ready for war. Exactly what the Lord have purpose, right? That's exactly the time we're in right now.
And it hasn't done a very good job lately. So you can point to Afghanistan, 20 years, you can point to Iraq, you can point to whatever you want. We're talking about major power movements, major powerful military states now. We're not talking about forever anything. We're talking about nuclear power, among other things. Now, let me give you some examples. Senior U.S. general warns China's military progress is stunning as U.S. is hampered by brutal bureaucracy. As you know, as I speak, the communist Chinese are terrorizing Taiwan. But they've been doing more than that. In the wake of China's test of hypersonic missiles, the second most senior U.S. general said that the pace at which China's military is developing capabilities is stunning. While U.S. development suffers from brutal...
China is making a weapon of war, right? They're turning their plowshares into weapons of war, right? And they're making advancement on those weapons, right? And America is feeling it, right? Let's play a couple more minutes.
Bureaucracy. The outgoing Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General John Hyten, echoed Secretary of Defense Austin's characterization of China as a pacing threat, while calling Russia the most imminent threat. Calling China a pacing threat is a useful term because the pace at which China is moving is stunning. The pace they're moving and the trajectory they're on will surpass Russia and the United States if we don't do something to change it. It will happen. So I think we have to do something. Although we're making marginal progress, he's talking about hypersonic nuclear weapons, the Department of Defense is still unbelievably bureaucratic and slow. He said the hypersonic and nuclear weapons China are building are only partially to do with Taiwan. Rather, they're meant for the United States of America. We have to assume that, and we have to plan for that, and we have to be ready. And that's the position they're putting us in with the weapons they're building. We're not provoking them. Then we have Jim Inhofe, who's been in the Armed Services Committee a very, very long time. His son was a fighter pilot who died in a terrible crash. Real clear defense. The United States defense budget is larger than the next 10 countries combined. You've heard this from some of these elements I was just talking about. And he said, you hear it all the time. He says from progressives, but we're also hearing it from isolationists in the Republican Party and in the media. He said, in their arguments to cut funding for our military, it's time to remove this false talking point from our vernacular. Here's the truth. Our defense budget is almost certainly smaller than the combined Chinese and military budgets after you adjust for basic economic realities. Let's be clear, he says, because the Chinese and Russians manipulate the defense budgets, measuring their actual spending is very difficult. Both Beijing and Moscow lie about just about everything. So it should be no surprise they intentionally hide significant parts of their defense spending. The Chinese don't report any research and development spending in their defense budget, and a significant portion of their space program and basing costs are omitted.
Hi, we're Woodard.
As you can see, inshallah, right? China is spending a lot of money on their weapons, right? See, instead of them doing farming, right? They spend all those money for weapons of war, right? That's exactly what's going on, and Babylon is in trouble, and he sees it, right? Because China is getting too big for their own taste, right? Job chapter 18, Verse 5, yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark, and his tabernacle and his candle shall be put out with him. You see, Babylon is not wise anymore, right? All those things that's going on around him, he should have been making move like 40 years ago, but it's not, because there's no wisdom and timing no more, right? The step of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down, right? They have all those counsel, all those talk, and they cast him down because they're divided. They don't know. Some of them is saying uh, America first. The other one is saying this, right? We need to take care of our own problem at home. Then they forget uh, the threat, the foreign threat, and they have a domestic threat. All this compile, they put in Babylon and a horrible uh, step, right? The Jan shall, if it's not, the Jan shall take him by the heel, and the warbear shall prevail against him. Okay, Babylon is being robbed right now by China, because everything that Babylon, aka America, consume is made by China, and they pay a hefty price for it, right? The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. You see, there's a snare that laid for this man, right? Because China is preparing for economic war, and Babylon doesn't know what to do with it. Babylon is a snare right now that the Lord have put up for him, and doesn't know how to act. Terror shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. You see, terror is on every side. Is dealing with domestic threat and foreign threats right now. That means terror is on every side, right? In front of him, behind him, next to him, terror is on every side, and that's driving to his feet, right? He don't know where to put his feet at, right? He don't know where to go. Do I have to worry about this? Do I have to worry about that? Now he's feeling the pain right now. That's when you know. That's when Babylon knows he's in trouble. His strength shall be hunger biting, and destruction shall be ready at his side. Destruction is coming for this place, because all those nations, China, Russia, they're all ready for war, and destruction is coming for Babylon. It shall devour the strength of his skin, even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. Who's the firstborn of death? Yahawashi, with the world called Jesus Christ, gonna devour the strength of this man, right? This man gonna be fighting a war, but then the jihad gonna come and fight him and beat him up too. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terror. Who's the king of terror? Yahawashi. Gonna destroy this man to powder. He shall dwell in his tabernacle, because he is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. That's what's coming for Esau, Edom. That's what's coming for Babylon, brimstone, like Sodom and Gomorrah. That's how bad Babylon gonna get it. And the Lord gonna use the other nation to bring Babylon to his knees, to bring Esau, Edom to his knees. That there's no more throne for him, right? And with that, I hope your bodies was edified. I'm gonna give all praise, all glory, all honor, all blessing belong to our power, Yahawaah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach us well and rule well. Salutation to the Arkham that's and highways and byways doing this work in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom, shalom, abad babal, kom Yashwala.